Oh, hi. Welcome to the 13th annual SF Hep B Free Bay Area Gala and Fundraiser. Well, not exactly. We're virtual, but I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you're here. And since you've joined me early anyway, I'm hoping we can have a little fun. And don't worry, the actual gala programming doesn't start until 5 p.m. Pacific time. But since you're here, I thought we'd make a nice drink that we can both enjoy in the comfort of our own homes while we watch the gala programming. And so we're calling this drink the Hep B Hero Drink, and it only requires 3 ingredients. That is your favorite whiskey, creme de menthe. It's a mint liqueur that you can get in most grocery stores and liquor stores. And the recipe calls for cream, but I didn't have any cream. But I did have some whipped cream, and so that'll just have to do. Really easy. So to make this drink, all you need is 1 ounce of your favorite whiskey. Put that in. 1/4 ounce of the creme de menthe. Now it's very minty, so this depends on how much you like it, so I'm just gonna put a slash. And the recipe calls for 2 ounces of the cream. But for me, I'm just gonna put a dollop of the whipped cream in. And of course, some ice to make it nice and cold. Close that up. Shake it up. And with a little bit of luck, we get this nice jade green color that's pretty darn close to our campaign colors. But of course, if a cocktail isn't your thing or you don't have all the ingredients, please grab your favorite beer, something like a hard seltzer, or many people's favorite, a nice glass of wine. While you settle in to watch the gala, please remember to register on the Qtigo site so you can participate in the awesome raffle, silent auction, and the Fund a Need donation activity. You'll need to do so to participate in those. And remember to please take a picture of yourself watching the gala so you can post it on Facebook, because the prize is a $200 gift certificate to the Intercontinental Restaurant Lucet, which is Michelin starred. That can be used when the restaurant opens, or you can use it for $200 worth at Terrace 888, the alfresco dining at the Intercontinental that is open now. So until then, I will see you later in the program, and have a good night.
Hello everyone and good evening and welcome to the San Francisco Hep B Free Bay Area's Be a Hero virtual gala. I'm Lisa Ling and I'm co-hosting here with my handsome husband, Dr. Paul Song, who is a radiation oncologist. And we are so thrilled to join you from our home office. Hopefully our kids don't run in because we tonight are going to be raising awareness of hepatitis B and liver cancer.
We may be virtual this year, but that doesn't diminish this year's theme, A Night of Heroes, recognizing the real importance of hepatitis B awareness, screening, and treatment, as well as helping to realize the potential in all of us to be hepatitis B heroes.
That's right, hepatitis B and liver cancer disproportionately affects the health of our Asian American and Bay Area communities, as well as the nearly 900,000 people across the United States. In fact, 1 in 12 Asian American and Pacific Islander immigrant adults are chronically infected with hepatitis B in the U.S.
Most people who have chronic hepatitis B are completely unaware they have it. The first step is knowing.
Hi, my name is Fiona Ma, your California State Treasurer, and thank you for coming to tonight's gala. Some of you know my story, but back in 2008, when I appeared at a press conference with Dr. Sam So and James Fang of Asian Week, I told my story that my grandmother had hepatitis B, gave it to my mother at birth, gave it to me at birth, but I was fine. But everyone should go get tested. After that press conference, Dr. So took me aside and said, "No, Miss Ma, 1 out of 4 people like me will develop liver cancer or require a liver transplant." So I went home and talked to my mom, and she said, "Well, I didn't know. I thought I was fine as well." And that led us down the journey for better educating and raising the awareness for people like me to make sure that if you don't have it, to go get 3 vaccines so that you will be protected for life, or for folks like me, that you go and make sure that you ask your doctor to test you for hepatitis B and to monitor your health condition, because there is medication and drugs on the market that can help you stay healthy. So my message here today is know your status, go get tested, raise the awareness with your family and friends, because 1 out of 12 Asian Pacific Islanders is born or has hepatitis B. So know your status, stay safe, and have a great night tonight. Thank you.
Aloha everyone, this is Senator Mazie Hirono. Thank you, all of you, for joining me in support of San Francisco Hep B Free. I've been a big supporter of the need to educate people regarding hepatitis B, and so I'm really glad to join you once again at your event, although this time virtually. Hepatitis B is a leading cause of liver cancer, which is, we have a high incidence of that, I should say, in Hawaii. And there is an increasing number of Hep B incidents across our country, and it does disproportionately impact Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. And the good news is that hepatitis B can be prevented through education, because a lot of people with hepatitis B don't even know they have it. So education is important so that you can be tested, you can be vaccinated, and the health issues attendant to hepatitis B, such as liver cancer, can be prevented. And this is why it is so important that an organization like SF Hep B Free exists, to do the kind of outreach that is going to enable us to prevent the spread of this disease. So once again, thank you very much for joining us, for all the work that SF Hep B Free does, and we will continue to get the word out about hepatitis B. Everyone, take care. And yes, we are in the middle of a pandemic, and we need to deal with that. Healthcare is a crisis in our country, but you know what? At the same time, we still need to get the word out about how to prevent Hep B. Take care, everyone. Aloha.
Assembly Biosciences is proud to support the work of the Hep B-free Bay Area and be part of tonight's 13th annual Be a Hero event. As a company that is committed to advancing the field of hepatitis B treatments, Assembly is developing a new class of potent oral therapeutics that have the potential to provide finite therapies and ultimately increase cure rates for patients who are chronically infected with HBV. By delivering new therapeutic options and critically important testing and vaccination programs, together we can work toward a bold vision of a Hep B-free community in the Bay Area and longer term nationally and globally.
Right now, we're obviously living through the COVID-19 pandemic, and health is at the forefront of everyone's minds as we're all fighting COVID together by doing our part. We must not forego, however, regular health screenings and get tested for Hep B if we need it. While we don't have a vaccine yet for COVID, we do, however, have a vaccine for hepatitis B and that can prevent liver cancer. We know that with screening and vaccination, we can beat this disease.
As they say, not all heroes wear capes. Tonight, with your help, we can uncover your inner hero to make a difference, save lives, and help eradicate this disease that takes too many lives too early.
Yes, thank you again for joining us here, and we are grateful in advance for your generosity. SF Hep B Free Bay Area is celebrating 13 years of community awareness and relies heavily on your generosity to keep this cause moving forward. We'd like to take a moment to thank our generous sponsors that made this evening possible, including Gilead Sciences and Blue 42 Agency, Crossings TV, Dynavax, Dignity Health, Assembly Biosciences, and the San Francisco Association of Realtors, and Kaiser Permanente, the Peninsula Healthcare District, Jade Medical Group, and the Pacific Asian American Women Bay Area Coalition. And don't worry, there are plenty of opportunities to give this evening, from buying raffle tickets to bidding on the online auction items with some amazing items, or texting a donation, large or small, during the Fund a Need activity. All that can be done using the QTago link that's shown on screen right now and in the video description. And remember, the raffle and auction won't close until Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time to give you plenty of time to participate.
Since we are virtual this year, we also want to see how you're watching us. We encourage you to post a selfie or photo of how you are watching the Be a Hero virtual gala. Post on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter and tag hashtag HepBeHeroesGala. The best photo gets a $200 gift certificate to Luce, the Michelin-starred restaurant inside the Intercontinental Hotel, to be used when it opens, or a $200 gift certificate to be used at Terrace 888, the Intercontinental's al fresco dining with heated seating.
Now for some real stories of courage and inspiration, and this is kind of like one of my episodes of This Is Life, and there's no better way to show the real toll of hepatitis B in our communities than in the words of those most affected by it.
I was born with hepatitis B, but didn't know it. I had no symptoms, and normal physicals didn't test for hepatitis B. In my late 30s, I donated blood at a blood bank, and it was through the blood bank's thorough testing that I learned that I was positive for hepatitis B. Although I was asymptomatic, it was critical to know that I had the virus for 3 reasons. First, I was a carrier, and thus it was important that my family be vaccinated. Second, I learned that I had a heightened risk of liver cancer and liver disease, and thus needed to have regular blood testing and sonograms for early detection of cancer and other disease. I also had to watch my lifestyle, limiting alcohol and drugs like acetaminophen, which can stress the liver. Third, that regular surveillance paid off, because although I remained asymptomatic for over 20 years, a few years ago, my viral count and my liver enzyme levels started increasing dramatically. Thanks to new and effective antiviral medications, my viral count is now undetectable, and I remain symptom-free. That blood test 25 years ago may well have saved my life.
So back in 1992, I was a young TV reporter when I found out I was hepatitis B positive. My liver had become inflamed. I couldn't eat. I was jaundiced. It was very scary. So I went to the doctor. They tested me, and I found out that I did indeed have hepatitis B. It was a very scary feeling at the time because I really didn't know what hepatitis B was. So when I looked it up and found out that it was potentially deadly and you could get cancer through having a cirrhosis of the liver, it was a scary feeling, especially when my physician and another physician after that was unable to give me alternatives and options on what I should do. I wasn't getting the information that I needed until I went to a specialist. At that time, I was informed of all of the scary things that come along with having hepatitis B. But I also learned that my brothers and sisters had it. In speaking with my brothers and sisters and my mom, we all found out that we had hepatitis B. And what we can gather is that we all contracted hepatitis B at birth. And the reason why we were able to find that out is by communicating with each other. We began to connect the dots by ourselves and realized that, yes, our Uncle Peter, my mom's older brother, who was always jaundiced, he died of liver cancer. My Uncle Henry, he also died from liver complications. And my Uncle Luther died from liver cancer, all in their mid-50s. These are things that we had to figure out ourselves. And I wish that more doctors had known to consult with their patients to, first of all, calm the fears that we all have. And second of all, to give hepatitis B patients an idea of how to create a dialogue with our family members and our friends about it. Because, as it turns out, there is a way to manage hepatitis B. Back when I was at my worst, I had 13 million copies of the virus attacking my liver, which is pretty scary. But as soon as I started getting treatment, within months, I was undetectable. And I've been that way for 15 years. And the most recent checkup I had an MRI, and the doctor looked at it and said, "Alan, 10 years ago, you looked like you were having some scarring on your liver, but today, because you've been able to suppress that virus, your liver has had a chance to regenerate. So you have a very nice, healthy pink liver." And that's fascinating because, this is not like cancer where, they're still developing the treatment. For hepatitis B, there is very effective treatment. And it's just sad that the battle that patients are facing is a battle against ignorance. People who are unaware of their options, unaware of treatment, and unaware of how important it is to talk to their family members to get tested so that they can be treated and live a longer, healthier life. And lastly, I want to talk about my decision to be an outspoken advocate for people with hepatitis B and those who may have it. It was actually a very easy decision. Lots of people think that, well, this is very shameful, I could get fired, people aren't going to want to associate with me, but you have to realize that people are much more understanding nowadays. And so I came out and I spoke openly about it. The other reason is because at the time I was an anchor and a reporter in one of the largest news markets in the country. I had a platform, I had a mouthpiece, a speaker that I could get my message out to other people. And if that helped save lives, then it was a no-brainer. The question was, why wouldn't I speak out about this and help people be informed and save their lives? So I'm happy to be an advocate and speak out for those patients with hepatitis B and those people who may have it. Go out and get tested. It's important. You could save your life.
Hi, my name is Amy Tang. I am the Director of Immigrant Health at Northeast Medical Services and also a primary care physician. We need to coordinate a lot of moving parts, including vaccination, screening of our community, education, reducing stigma, and also getting people identified with Hep B into care so we can prevent the complications of Hep B, like liver cancer and cirrhosis. Hepatitis B is actually often spread asymptomatically. People who are newly infected and chronically infected often have no symptoms whatsoever. The whole sort of narrative about chronic Hep B not affecting me, I'm infected, but I feel just fine. I don't need to do anything about it. I don't need to tell other people because I look fine, I feel fine, nothing to do. I do believe that all Asian Americans should be screened for hepatitis B because it's so incredibly common within families, even for those who were born in the United States who may not necessarily have received all their vaccines, or their parents were not identified as having Hep B. And so there's still some cases where people who were born here received their vaccines and later found out that they were still positive. So hepatitis B is still very much in our community. And I do think that the medical community has a responsibility to be testing. Ideally, the primary care provider remembers that the person sitting in front of them is at higher risk for this infectious disease and screens them if they haven't been screened before. But we should also advocate on the federal level to be changing some of our recommendations so that it's a universal hepatitis B screening for all persons in the country. Because if someone is Hep B negative and they've never been vaccinated, that's another great opportunity to vaccinate someone for hepatitis B so that there aren't any future cases of spread. Well, so SF Hep B Free Bay Area has been a leader in, I think, Hep B public health awareness since over a decade ago. They really set the precedent for large municipalities to have awareness and screening programs and vaccination programs like ours. And for good reason. San Francisco and the neighboring counties have some of the highest prevalence rates of hepatitis B in the country. Almost 2% of all San Franciscans have chronic hepatitis B. And I'm not just talking about Asian Americans, I'm talking about San Franciscans of the general population. So we need funds to really continue those types of awareness campaigns so people know that they need to get screened and vaccinated. We are not nearly done with this fight. There's a lot of statistics out there that there's still more than half of the people out there with chronic Hep B are still unaware. We have so much more to do. We shouldn't be seeing rising cases of new hepatitis B in the country. So we decided, because it's so prevalent in our community health center, to adopt a universal hepatitis B screening for all adults at NEMS. And we've implemented changes in our electronic health records so that primary care providers are reminded to order the test if they haven't ordered it before. And the same thing goes for hepatitis C, so that all patients here, all adult patients, are tested for both B and C and know about their status. We also have the new 2-dose vaccine called Heplisab that we offer to our patients who are susceptible to hepatitis B, and they can complete their vaccines in 1 month. So we actually recently started a Hep B Moms program that involves our adult medicine providers who are managing the Hep B, our OB providers who are managing the pregnant woman, and the pediatricians who are receiving and taking care of the infants who are born to Hep B moms. We've had more than 10 years of a highly successful campaign, but there's always more to do, and we are not there yet, and we still need your donations. We still need your support to continue our mission of preventing hepatitis B where we can and mitigating the complications in our community for those who are already infected.
Thank you, Dr. Tang and Alan, for sharing your touching stories. Joining us now is Dr. Stuart Fong, Board Chair of SF Hep B Free Bay Area, to tell us how the organization is making an impact. Thank you for joining us, Stuart.
During these times of COVID-19, everybody's forgetting that there are other critical and important chronic infectious viral diseases, such as hepatitis B. So this is what we want to still continue to bring awareness and education for. We go into the community, we participate in cultural festivals, we have one-on-one individual awareness and education sessions with people. So now what we've been able to do is go online We provide information via virtual meetings to tech companies, to organizations within the communities. Other means that we use is we're partnering with our media partners. And so through radio, television, in-language newspapers, we have information about hepatitis B. Through PSAs on radio and TV, we also have information that people can see and learn about. Well, SF Hep B Free was founded because San Francisco at the time had the highest incidence of liver cancer in the nation. And so the efforts through the founders of SF Hep B Free, Ted Feng of Asian Week, Janet Zola, formerly of SFDPH, and Sam So at the Asian Liver Center at Stanford University, we wanted to bring awareness and education because the number one cause of liver cancer was hepatitis B. So I was involved because I had a working relationship with Janet Zola at DPH, because at Chinese Hospital we had a hepatitis B program that we wanted to start, providing vaccinations. And through that I was able to connect with Ted and Sam and Janet, and we formed SF Hep B Free. We went to the Board of Supervisors thanks to Fiona Ma. We were able to get the mayor at that time, Gavin Newsom, to support screening hepatitis B. We had billboards of both Fiona and Gavin Newsom up that encouraged people to get screened for hepatitis B. And from that, we had other media outlays. We had our 1 in 10 campaign, we had our Be a Hero campaign, and all this was to promote awareness and education for hepatitis B. Why isn't hepatitis B a universal test for everyone? Hepatitis B affects Asians predominantly. Asians make up 50% of the chronic Hep B cases in the United States, yet Asians only make up 5% of the general population. But because we wanted to make sure if you were Asian, you would get screened. So that was our big effort in terms of educating and reminding physicians to screen all Asians for hepatitis B. We worked with government agencies, with the state and local DPHs to get this on everybody's agenda so that they know about hepatitis B and they're screening their high-risk population and their EHR to see if we can have that as a general check. I know that there are some organizations like NEMS, Northeast Medical Services, they have it on their records that is one of the first things they screen for, or that's automatically screened for in their patients. Our Hep B model here we have in San Francisco is nationally recognized. Well, the donations that we collect tonight from our virtual gala will go towards our mission. Again, our mission is about awareness and education, promoting screening and vaccinations and linkage to care.
The way we see it, the impossible
is not impossible.
The impossible is simply what hasn't been achieved yet.
So we pursue it.
We chase it down.
We tackle it for answers.
We surround it for a way in. This is how every once impossible breakthrough has ever been created.
A revolutionary approach to cancer therapy.
A path to a cure for HIV.
A cure for hepatitis C.
A better, healthier world for every person to live in.
Hi everyone, I am Alice. I'm delighted to be here and having the opportunity to share my story about Hep B. I live in Sacramento and was born and raised in Hong Kong. Growing up in a traditional Chinese family, I remember my mom always telling me, "Don't ask, don't tell," in regards to illness. As I recall, my family tend to feel shame of having a chronic illness and were afraid of being isolated from friends and relatives if they knew. So we never talk about health condition. I was diagnosed with hepatitis B in the 1980s during my first pregnancy. I was shocked. When I was diagnosed, it was only then that I learned my mom also has chronic hepatitis B, and that I probably got it from her at birth. My mother expressed that she was ashamed to tell us because of how hepatitis B has been stigmatized throughout history. I know the transmission wasn't my mom's fault, but I wish that she had told me sooner. I was grateful that my OBGYN knew to screen for hepatitis B and took precaution to prevent mother-to-child transmission. My children received the first dose of hepatitis B vaccine and the immunoglobulin shot at birth. And then they completed the 3-shot series. They both tested negative for Hep B at 1 year of age. When my doctor informed me that I have a 25% chance of getting liver cancer due to hepatitis B, I felt very distressed and depressed about the unknowns in my future. My oldest brother died of liver cancer in his middle age, and I did not want to suffer the same fate. I worried if there was anything I could do to slow the liver damage, to live a normal life without being discriminated against or isolated, and to be able to raise my children to adulthood. So far, I have not taken any medication for hepatitis B, since my doctor has not recommended treatment for me. But I was monitored by blood tests every 6 months and got annual ultrasound of my liver. I have also opted to adjust my lifestyle in the hope to build a stronger body to fight against the chronic infection. I try to eat right by skipping most of the junk food, eating more vegetables and fruits, exercising regularly, and not drinking alcohol. I started jogging every day and hike on weekends because I love being outdoors and enjoy visiting nature. I keep a positive attitude that I can overcome the burden of chronic hepatitis B. And I believe these activities have helped me because I feel stronger and less fatigued. I'm happy to see that my viral load has remained low and my liver ultrasounds continue to be normal. As a parent, I choose to be very open with my children about health-related matters. Although it was hard at first to share my story, I'm glad I did. I am grateful that I can contribute to save lives and ending Hep B. I hope you will consider supporting the fight against hepatitis B and liver cancer. I wanted everyone to know that hepatitis B can be prevented by testing and vaccination. Please talk to your friends and families about hepatitis B. You too can save lives.
Thank you, Stuart and Alice. Together we can save lives and ensure no one experiences the uncertainty and danger Alice and her family faced. Next, we will have important messages from special guests and ardent supporters.
Hi, I'm Mayor London Breed. It is my honor to join you at the 13th Annual Be a Hero Award Gala and Fundraiser to support San Francisco Hep B Free Bay Area. I want to thank you for finding a creative way to come together to recognize the work being done for Asian and Pacific Islander adults who are most at risk of contracting hepatitis B. For over a decade, San Francisco Hep B Free Bay Area has worked tirelessly to raise awareness, promote the importance of testing and vaccination, and ensure access to treatment for those who are in need. We know hepatitis B not only is a disease that disproportionately affects Asian Pacific Islanders, but it is also a leading cause of liver cancer among Asian Americans. We also know that most people who have been impacted by the disease might not have symptoms and sometimes don't know they are infected until it's too late. That's why it is critical that Hep B Free Bay Area continues its work to both educate and screen our community. Your support will ensure just that. Stay safe and healthy, and together we will get through this. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Hey everyone, I'm here today to support SF Hep B Free and its fight against hepatitis B and deadly liver cancer. Hepatitis B does not get you don't hear a lot about hepatitis B, but yet it continues to devastate the Asian American community, often leading to liver cancer and taking our loved ones way too soon. So I'm grateful to SF Hep B Free for the work that it's doing, and thankful for all of the education that it's done for our community, educating our physicians, educating our politicians on a disease that would otherwise go overlooked. Thank you for all of the free screenings and the support and guidance that you've given to those in need. SF Hep B Free is an organization that, without question, saves lives. So I'm here to say thank you to SF Hep B Free, but to those of you out there watching, I also hope that you'll join me in supporting SF Hep B Free and the vital work that it's doing by making a donation today, as much as you're able to. I hope that you're all safe and happy and healthy and doing as well as you can during this impossible time, and thank you for listening.
Hi, I'm Rick Welts. I'm President and Chief Operating Officer of the Golden State Warriors, and I'm so happy to be here with you tonight. I'll admit that until recently, like so many others, I was unaware of the dangers of hepatitis B in our community, but that's why I felt it was important to be with you tonight. We need to change that. By raising awareness for this disease and promoting screening and vaccination, we can save thousands, if not millions, of lives. The Warriors support the work of SF Hep B Free Bay Area in what they're doing to educate the public, offer free screening, and giving the community the tools and resources they need to fight hepatitis B and the liver cancer it causes. So thank you, SF Hep B Free Bay Area, for the amazing work you do and for all you do supporting this fantastic cause. Tonight's a celebration of Hep B heroes, and perhaps to all those Warrior fans here tonight, together we can help Hep B Free Warrior heroes.
Welcome back, everyone. For those of you who are just joining us, thank you for tuning in to the 2020 SF Hep B Free Be a Hero virtual gala. I'm Lisa Ling, a journalist with a show on CNN called This Is Life, which takes me on a gritty, breathtaking journey to the far corners of America. And I'm joined this evening by Dr. Paul Song, who is a radiation oncologist who has seen a number of liver cancer patients and also happens to be my husband.
We're here tonight to raise money for people with Hep B, but we want to make sure to keep the fun in fundraising. We have an online ongoing auction with some awesome prizes, so just don't try to outbid me. Or you can try your luck in the raffle. You can donate anytime during the night by texting the number on your screen or by visiting the website.
Unfortunately, hepatitis B isn't a disease that people hear of far too often, and very often family members face the burden alone, frightened because of stigma, cultural concerns, or the worry that they might be a burden to the ones they know and love. Now I want to introduce you to Kim Vu, who has been deeply and personally affected.
Thank you, San Francisco Hepatitis B Free, for allowing me to share my family's story. My dad was diagnosed with liver cancer in 2013. He had been having tremors, and I had time to go to had declined. I was able to convince my dad to make an appointment for both the hepatitis B test as well as the liver biopsy. We got the diagnosis back. He did have hepatitis B, and the damage it caused to his liver had already progressed to liver cancer. I could only think of, how did this happen? Why didn't my dad tell us earlier? Why didn't he get tested sooner? Upon asking my dad, we found out that he has a family history of liver disease. His mother and a few siblings had died of liver problems. That's when we made the connection that my grandmother, since this is often the mode of transmission in Asian populations. I'm sure my dad had an idea of what was happening to him, but he was the head of the family and had to take care of all of us. Hepatitis B is pretty common in the Asian community, but no one talks about it. If people knew, they would gossip and treat you differently. They would be afraid to shake your hand, share your food, and some, even to be in the same room as you. I can understand why my dad would have been afraid to say or do anything about it. We desperately need to remove the stigmatism associated with hepatitis B through education and increase awareness so that families can get tested sooner and avoid the suffering and loss that my family went through. It didn't have to end like it did. By sharing what you learned tonight and donating, you can save lives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kim, for your personal story. Coming up next is the part of the program where we ask you to open your hearts for our live Fund a Need. Everyone can personally make a difference and be a Hep B hero. Please know that your donation is going straight to the community with education and direct services, supporting new planned screening projects next year when it's safe to meet in person again. Now I'm happy to introduce Hep B Free Director Richard So to help us learn how we can
that shield and be a Hep B hero right here, right now, today. Fast. So check those out. And of course, participate here on this event where you can donate directly to our very, very important work. I also want to 1,000 to the left of me, Mark. So every dollar you donate today will be. All right. So if you've never, so kind of hype everybody up, and then we'll go down to that. And so with that, I think we'll start. So at the first level, it's $2,005 payment done. And we all know that it's hard to get to the doctor's office. We know that we always say they might pass Hep B to their child and are confused at what their doctors have said. We've had people who seemingly have Hep B and are worried about what they should do when they think their doctor maybe isn't taking the condition seriously. So we pride ourselves in operating this line. So with $1,000, you can do a lot. We can do that. We don't have to worry, and we can keep that line funded. Great, we just got another, oh wow, an anonymous donation for $2,500. So that is awesome. It looks like we are at 4,000 right now about. And then Austin Louis, thank you for that $500 donation. That's so generous of you. Really appreciate that. All right, so let's go on to the next level at $500. So here we're asking for $500 here. That obviously will help us do 20 screenings. Again, the same type of work. And you know, when we are out in the community and teaching people, you'd be so surprised that so many people say, I've never even heard of this disease. If it's so big and scary and 1 in 12 have it and so many people aren't gonna know, how come I've never heard of it? And you might all be wondering that as well. And the truth is that the Asian population across the United States isn't that big. And so this is not a big issue in the healthcare system for most people in most places, but it is such a big issue here in our community. And you hear these terribly sad stories of aunts, uncles, stories just like Kim's, where grandfathers or dads don't tell their family that they have this. They're too afraid from the stigma or bringing bad luck to their family, when lives could be saved from just screening and vaccinating earlier. The other thing that the $500 could do is help us do 2 months of ethnic media ads 2 times a week. This is a really, really core thing that we provide. We've done some research and we know that reaching out through Asian radio, Asian TV is the best way to reach the audience that is at highest risk for this. And so we've had the privilege to work with places like Singtao News, some Filipino radio TV channels and newspapers, Philam Star, Philippine News. And we get those articles out and those PSAs out. And those are things that we know people like our parents, our aunts and uncles listen to. And so for Singtao, we had this great opportunity to do Cantonese and Mandarin and talk on a program that allowed people to call us and ask about it. So that suddenly allows us to reach tens of thousands of listeners and really potentially change some minds. So that $500 goes a really long way in terms of ethnic media buys and what we can do there. So thank you again. It looks like I'm looking at the donations. It has been amazing. Just now, we're about to reach 10,000 here. We just crossed 10,000, so that is 20,000 right there. Let's see if we can do more. So with some of those donations, we've got an anonymous one for 1,000, a $30 one from Amy Geithman. I'm sorry if I mess up your name. $250 from Nicholas Tenzar. 25 from Anna Chang, 500 from Gail Chan, another 500 for Anonymous. This is really, really fantastic. I'm sorry if I missed you. Let me see. I think I saw my friend Fu Lam down there for 50. Thank you so much for your generosity today. I wish I could give you all hero capes right now for your generosity on this. All right, let's go to $250, the $250 mark. for $250, you can support 10 screenings or a phlebotomist in our work for 13 hours of their work. And so, as I told you before, when we go out into the community, we need to have a certified phlebotomist who can go with us and make sure that we draw the blood correctly and have that all set right so that we can send it to the lab. Without these phlebotomists, we would be unable to do the work. And really, lots of these people are taking time off their regular jobs and working with us at a discounted rate because they want to serve the community. So without them, so thank you to all of the phlebotomists out there that we work with. You do amazing work. And so that $250, that 13 hours of phlebotomy work would help us a lot. And so it looks like we're getting a couple more anonymous donations for $500. So thank you so much. I hope you're as excited as I am. I am so thrilled that all of this funding is coming in out of the goodness of all of your hearts. Let's now go down to the $100 mark. So this is our lowest mark here. So we hope we can get as many people participating as possible. I know I may have been speaking a little fast, but I was just very, very excited. At the $100 mark, this is 4 screenings. And the way I think I like to imagine it is if someone told you you could potentially save 4 lives for $100, would you do it? And I think for most of us, that answer is of course. And when you're out there like me in the community and you actually get an email back or a call back of someone who says, hey, I learned about Hep B from you. I went and got tested and turns out I have Hep B. Now I'm managing it with my doctor. That is something that is kind of life-changing. So please be generous, be a hero today. It's just $100. For many folks, that is just one fancy meal. Instead, you can potentially save 4 lives. So please, please, please. It looks like we're getting a couple anonymous donations at $100. That is fantastic. Thank you so much. And again, if $100 is too much, don't have to give $100. Whatever you can, whether that be $10, $25, $30. That is every single cent counts to allow us to do the work, to go back in the community, and save lives. And the other thing I wanted to kind of talk a little bit more about is just the work we are doing now during the COVID crisis. As you might imagine, it's hard for us to be out in the community and not necessarily safe, but we are still doing work. Apart from operating our website, our online support group, which allows people to post and tell their stories in a safe space, we also are starting this major physician education program based on the ECHO model. It's a model that's nationally recognized to teach primary care practitioners to become mini specialists in a field. And for us, that's going to be hepatitis B, obviously. And so we are already working nationally with the Hep B Foundation and Hep B United to build this program both on the West Coast and East Coast. So it's a great funding for that is tight because we have to work with lots of physicians and make sure they have the time to attend to us. So any donations today will help us go to planning that program, to making sure physicians are aware of it and come and join and become experts so they can serve and diagnose and treat hepatitis B in their own communities instead of referring to specialists. And we know that when that happens, a lot of stuff gets lost in communication or language barriers. So we have a lot of very exciting things going on. It looks like we're about to reach 13,000 and we just passed 13,000, so that is fantastic. I'm so happy to be here and be doing this with you. Please continue donating if you'd like for the rest of the program. That won't end until the end of the program. And of course, again, if you are in the mood to win something and take some chances, the raffle is still open. The silent auction will all still be open until 5 o'clock on Friday. Thank you again. It means so much to me. It means so much to all of us who are fighting hepatitis B together for your time and your generosity and opening your hearts today. And with that, I will send it back to Lisa.
Wasn't that amazing? Thank you all so much for your generosity. You are all heroes in my heart. And speaking of heroes, SF Hep B Free would not be able to do this work without the tireless dedication of its staff, board, community partners, volunteers, and sponsors. And that brings us to the Be a Hero Awards that acknowledge the outstanding work of these dedicated individuals.
Thanks, Lisa and Paul. Hi, everyone. My name is Mick Del Rosario, and I'm the Program Manager at San Francisco Hep B Free Bay Area. And tonight, I have the honor of presenting our coveted Be a Hero Award to some of this year's greatest Hep B warriors. And this first award goes to our former board chair, Carol Ito, a longtime supporter of Hep B Free, someone who has been with us for more than 8 years and helped our organization grow to the Hep B advocacy leader it is today. And we have current board member, Vanita Louie, who helped us break the good news.
Hey, what are you guys doing here?
We are going to put this on you because you have been a superhero for the fight of hepatitis B. Okay? And you know what? Blue is your color, let me tell you. Okay, so I just want to say on behalf, Carol, of the San Francisco Hepatitis B Bay Area Board, I'd like to present you with the Hep B Hero Award for 2020. So I want to say first, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And you have been selected as someone that has shown they have gone above and beyond the call of duty to fight for hepatitis B awareness and the fight against liver cancer. And so on behalf of the board, Carol, you're so deserving and we want to just thank you.
Well, thank you. When I decided to join the board about 9 years ago, I was sort of simplifying my life. I had been serving on a number of citywide boards, and I felt it was time to focus on the Asian Pacific Islander community, and also because of my social work background, I was and I am very interested in public health, and especially now with COVID-19, I think the mission of San Francisco Hep B Free Bay Area will be even as important. Hep B, we know about it enough. We have tests to diagnose it. We have a vaccine to prevent anybody from getting it or having a far worse case. And we have treatments. And hopefully there'll be a cure.
Thank you, Carol and Vanita. The next award goes to a team of dedicated nursing students, without whom we would not be able to do all the culturally and linguistically sensitive community outreach that we do each year. Thank you so much to Kira, Alex, Christy, and Matthew. We are happy to present each and every one of you with the Be a Hero Award.
Thank you, Mick, for the introductions. Is everyone here?
Hey, Alex.
Hey, Kira. Hey, Christy. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy during this crazy time. Anyways, on behalf of the SF State nursing students, we thank you so much for these awards and this cape.
Raising awareness of hepatitis B and the communities it affects has been something that we all value. We hope we share all these values with our community in the past year.
For everyone watching at home, we want to say thank you for doing your part to learn about hepatitis B. We hope you take what you learned today and continue to educate others.
We have learned how important in-person, in-language, education, and screening can be. Just a little knowledge and a 5-minute screening can save lives.
Thank you so much again for this cape and the award. It's been great to see all of the support for this gala. We hope that you continue to educate your friends and family on hepatitis B. Everyone can be a hero.
Thanks, Kira, Alex, Christy, and Mick for your contributions to Hep B Free. My name is Amy Tang, and I am a Governance Council member for SF Hep B Free Bay Area. I have the pleasure of introducing our final Be a Hero awardee, who has been a mentor to me over the last several years. She served as a fellow in the CDC's Epidemic Intelligence Service prior to joining Charles B. Wong Community Health Center in New York City, where she established a hepatitis B care program and Hep B Moms program, which have served as models for Hep B patient navigation for community health centers across the country. She now serves as the president of the World Hepatitis Alliance and medical director for the Center for Asian Health at St. Barnabas Medical Center in New Jersey. Sue is well known in the field of hepatitis B, both nationally and internationally, as a vocal advocate for the involvement of patients and community in achieving hepatitis B elimination. Beyond her career achievements and renown, she is also an amazing mother of 4 and somehow always seems to have an abundance of energy and compassion. She is without a doubt a hero to many, including myself, and thus I am proud to introduce Dr. Sue Wong.
Thank you, Amy, for that generous introduction. You have been an inspiration to me in so many ways.
Here you go.
Thank you. I'm delighted to receive this award and so humbled that it comes from San Francisco Hep B Free. I remember learning so much from you all when I started working in the space, so I thank you for leading the way. As doctors, we usually think of being the ones helping patients, and not often do we think that patients might actually help us. And as a doctor, it can actually be very difficult thinking of yourself as a patient. When I began this work in New York City, we had a hard time finding people living with Hep B to share their stories at advocacy events. Even though I was living with Hep B myself, I justified not coming out as a patient because I was wearing the doctor hat. It was much easier to talk about model programs and medical recommendations. But as I heard more stories, especially from patients around the world who can't access care or face discrimination and are suffering so much, I realized I had to speak out for the many who didn't have a voice. And I learned that when you are angry at injustice and inaction, it actually overrides your discomfort and fear. And as I took the scary step of identifying as a Hep B patient, I found it to be healing and liberating. It also changed my view to be on the other side of the patient-doctor line. When you realize it is your life and those whom you love, there's an urgency for action that you demand. You see that hepatitis testing, treatment, and vaccination are non-negotiables. And viral hepatitis elimination is a necessity that we must give to our next generation. And so we can never remove ourselves from those who are most affected. The work of SF Hep B Free exemplifies that. I hope all of you can keep this vision going with your support. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to Carol, my good friend Sue, and the San Francisco State nursing team for your amazing, inspiring work. Let me take another opportunity to thank tonight's generous sponsors. Thank you to Gilead Sciences and Blue 42 Agency, Crossings TV, Dynavax, Dignity Health, Assembly Biosciences, and the San Francisco Association of Realtors. And Kaiser Permanente, the Peninsula Health Care District, Jade Medical Group, and the Pacific Asian American Women Bay Area Coalition. Thank you all for watching San Francisco Hep B Free's first ever virtual gala from the safety of your home. Thank you to the many community allies for attending. We have heard so many touching stories from patients, families, staff, volunteers, and supporters committed to fighting Hep B and liver cancer.
Tonight, your generosity and compassion has shown that together we can all be heroes. It is with all of your support that SF Hep B Free can continue to complete their mission to save lives and eradicate Hep B.
Please continue to go out there and share what you have seen and learned today. Get tested if you don't know your status, get all your vaccinations, and seek treatment if you need it. You can be a hero every day.
And remember, the online auction goes until Friday at 5 p.m., so keep those bids coming, and don't feel bad for bidding against Paul. Just don't bid against me, all right? And you can still purchase raffle tickets to win prizes worth up to $500, and that closes at 5 p.m. as well. You really can bid against me. Anyway, keep the donations coming to support your community through SF Hep B Free, and thank you all so much to the organizers and participants of this amazing virtual gala. If you want to learn more about Hep B and how Hep B can affect you, please visit sfhepbfree.org.
It was such a pleasure for us to be here with you tonight to support such a great cause. But now it's time for us to go put our kids to bed. Congratulations on a successful and worthwhile event. Stay Stay safe and don't forget to vote. Good night.
Good night.